Um, if required, that we need to respond to any emergencies while the event is ongoing. Keeping in mind your safety is our first priority, and we have submitted and drafted a detailed security and safety plan for the well-being of everyone attending this event. In the event of an emergency, the following will be implemented. Myself and the security officers deployed around the venue will be the first point of contact. Any incidents, emergencies that you may experience or observe, please report to any one of us so that we can start acting immediately. The emergency routes, I have to my right, your left. Next to the stage, we have one, and then in the middle of the room, to my right, your left, there's another one. On the left-hand side, my left-hand side is the same, your right-hand side. We have one directly next to the stage, and we have another one to your left in the middle of this venue. Should we have to evacuate, the security officers will guide you to the relevant areas and doors to be used. Alternatively, we can also use the main door where you came in from. In case of fire emergencies, trained people will operate the fire extinguishers to make sure that there's no incidents and or injuries that occurs. As I mentioned, security officers are deployed at all entrance areas to monitor, and they will also act upon any observation of any incident. We do have a medical services supplier on standby. Should there be any serious medical conditions, please report to us so that we can engage with them. Thank you very much. Enjoy your event. Be safe.
Thank you very much, Yaku. We are now aware of what were. May I ask that we observe a moment of silence or meditation, some call it, or silent prayer. Shall we do that now, please? Thank you. Morena, boloka setšhaba sa Yesu, o fedise dintwa le matshwenyego, o se boloke. Lord bless Africa, may your glory be lifted high. Hear our petitions. Lord bless us, your children. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for attending today's event. I see some people are still coming in, but we should be going ahead. A very good morning and welcome to the biennial Northwest University Research and Innovation Week. This year's edition is themed Transdisciplinary and Transformative Research, Building Sustainable Futures. I acknowledge the presence of the leaders from various sectors, including the Northwest University and the leadership of Prof. Mzubanzi Bismarck Chobeka. My name is Ngwaku Clement Manuku, and I'm the Executive Director responsible for Corporate Relations and Marketing in the Northwest University. The Northwest University is an important role player in the national system of innovation. The system of innovation is important as it is tasked with ensuring that the research and development strategy of our country is advanced And of course, it comes out of a realization that no country can develop and grow without taking research and development seriously. I know as universities, sometimes we project or adopt a posture that seems to suggest that we are in competition, but the national system of innovation calls upon us to work as a collective in finding sustainable solutions for our country, come up with new products and innovative ideas that can advance our country and indeed our continent and the world. That is why working together, firstly, as the researchers and academics within the Northwest University, working with other academics, researchers from other universities and science councils, and other colleagues and counterparts in other countries and the globe. So, we have to work together from various sectors and disciplines, hence transdisciplinary research, the theme today. We do not have Wi-Fi here today, and that is probably because our researchers are still concocting something alternative to Wi-Fi. So we will use alternatives until then, but we will soldier on. I am going to ask the Deputy Vice Chancellor responsible for research, innovation, community engagement, and postgraduate studies at the Northwest University, Prof. Jeffrey Mpatlele, to welcome us and open this session. Prof. Jeff, please.
Thank you, Program Director, Mr. Clement Manoko. You are always a force to reckon with. Thank you for kind words of introductions. Esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Dumela. Good morning and welcome to the Northwest University gathering. So I hope you feel welcomed. Le amogela madume at Northwest University. It is with distinct honor and gratitude to extend a warm welcome to all of you for joining the celebration of the Northwest University Research and Innovation Week. I am pleased to extend a special welcome to the following dignitaries and honored guests: our Principal and Vice Chancellor, Professor Zubanzi Bismarck Jobeka, who will deliver a keynote and opening address. Also, members of the Northwest University Senior Management Committee, distinguished guests and representatives of government, academia, science councils, public and private entities, as well as the industry. Perhaps it's fitting just to mention some of them. We would like to recognize Dr. Robert Nguna, who is the Director General from the Department of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation in the Presidency. So he's not just our guest today. He's also our extraordinary professor at Northwest University. Also to recognize Dr. Ntabisin Taule Njimba, who is the Deputy Vice Chancellor for Research, Partnerships, and Innovation from University of Fort Hare. I nearly said Northwest, who traveled the whole day to join us this morning. So she told me that she was on the road the whole day. So we appreciate that. Dr. Peggy Oti Boateng from African Academy of Sciences, that is located in Kenya. Prof. Alina Sorobie from Human Resource Development in Botswana. Dr. Rita Mata, who has joined us online from Fundamentalist Science in Portugal. Prof. Miriam Igo Izipe, apologize if I'm butchering the name, from University of Lagos, Nigeria, who's also joining us online. Prof. Martha Kenny from San Francisco State University in the USA. Prof. Emilio Tostao from Eduardo Mondlane University in Mozambique. Dr. Palesa Mutapo, Nelson Mandela University, and representatives from various embassies. So, as I said, we like to recognize all of these important people who sacrifice their time to join us this morning. But I must also recognize all eminent personalities who are in our midst this morning. Expert panelists, as you have seen on the program, that we have got a number of panel programs that will entertain us throughout the day. Faculty staff and postgraduate students, including those who will be participating in the Y20 gathering tomorrow. Sponsors, media houses, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, I hope all of you feel welcomed, even those who I did not mention by names. I hope I mentioned members of Senior Management Committee, because I see a number of executive deans who are here, and also the chief directors. So you are all welcome, colleagues. So briefly, I think we know the purpose of this gathering, but I must say that Northwest University is privileged to host you at this important gathering. It is an occasion to commemorate the R&I Week. The R&I Week is a biennial institutional flagship program which is spearheaded by the Department of Research and Postgraduate Support in collaboration with other departments or support departments and all faculties of Northwest University. Ladies and gentlemen, the way universities generate new knowledge is not static. Knowledge generation goes through a cycle of invention and reinvention. This is the reason this year's theme was carefully and intentionally chosen, amongst others, to emphasize the direction of our R&I as well as community engagement activities. The theme, transdisciplinary and transformative research, building sustainable futures, is timely and much needed. The Northwest University is on the trajectory of reinforcing collaboration and partnerships in all forms and shapes. Whether you call this inter or multi or transdisciplinary, the most important thing is that we are talking about collaboration and partnerships. So the theme highlights the value and spirit of these concepts within and across faculties within the Northwest University, as well as, as well as outside our institution. All institutions continuously grapple on how to deepen collaboration and partnerships with the right collaborators and partners, because this is extremely important. Also, to say institutions grapple on how to demonstrate impact of R&I beyond just publication of articles, how to prioritize relevant inter and cross-disciplinary areas without neglecting other areas of research, learning, and community engagement. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is through inter, multi, and transdisciplinary R&I that an institution like Northwest University is able to conduct quality and impactful outputs, to harness the collective wisdom of the academic team, to nurture well-rounded scholars, to embrace diversity of people and ideas, to sustain the core business of the academia. For example, we know very well that funding for R&I is not only following networks, but is also following partnerships and collaborations, which are generating impactful outputs. Finally, it is important to mention that inter, multi, and transdisciplinary R&I are critical for expanding international footprint of any institution. And I like to believe, and I'm sure you'll share this with me, that this is an excellent recipe and success factor for realizing internationalization, improved global rankings, and competitive global impact. So I invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the coming days as we engage and share our minds and thoughts, which will be guided by the theme Transdisciplinary and Transformative Research, Building Sustainable Futures. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Jeffrey. You are most welcome, everyone. The Northwest University strategy has priorities that are aimed at contributing to the topic at hand today. Those priorities are talking about growth, impact, internationalization, diversity, partnerships, and operational excellence. Now, with regard to impact, the question can be asked, the research units that we so glowingly talk about oftentimes, what impact do they have to me as Brajo living in Khaka Street? Yes, we have researchers, and we even give out recognition or awards. So what is this research about if we can't have Wi-Fi or alternative here? There is a water problem, not only in South Africa, but in the whole of SADC and other parts of the continent and the world. Where are our researchers? I'm not asking these questions for answers. I'm asking these questions because I know that researchers are hard at work seeking solutions, and indeed some solutions have been deployed, but You'll agree that these are moving targets sometimes. Some are man-made problems, some are natural. We must always keep up. But as we research, publish, we must always have this in mind. How are the people on the ground going to benefit? And it is in the answers to those questions, that researchers must consider the value chain. There are people who are at the forefront who can say, well, actually, as people on the ground, this may not work. So everyone becomes important in this ecosystem. That is why the Northwest University has committed itself to finding new solutions to benefit society and remain relevant. And through the leadership of our Vice Chancellor and Council, efforts are made to achieve that. Our Vice Chancellor is the alumnus of the university on this particular campus in Mahikeng, where he got his MSc, Applied Radiation Science in Technology. Went on to Penn State University in the US, where he got his Master of Science in Nuclear Engineering. And that wasn't enough. Another Master's of Science in Management, that is Project Management at Colorado Technical University. And of course, the next step at Penn State University, a PhD, Nuclear Engineering, and various programs, leadership programs from University of Cape Town, Harvard University, and so on and so forth, to echo the relevance of the university and of course impact. He participates in an advisory role in various organizations internationally and in the country. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the Principal and Vice Chancellor of the Northwest University, Prof. Mzubanzi Bismarck Chobeka.
Thank you. Thank you, Program Director. Thank you for the very kind introduction. Professor Jeff Mphahlele, the DVC, has already gone through the elaborate process of acknowledging everyone that is here, or at least almost everyone. Therefore, to save time, since we started a bit late, I shall stand on the protocol he has observed. The 8th Secretary General of the United Nations, the decisions we make regarding the type of research we prioritize will either be the turning point towards a more sustainable and equitable world, or a missed opportunity by which history will judge us harshly. As the University World News recently reported, universities have made a laudable stride in addressing sustainability in their research agendas. But too much of this work still resides on the periphery of institutional strategies. Therefore, this week should mark a decisive point of convergence where world-class research is intentionally channeled towards shaping a more just, resilient, and sustainable society. We convene at a time shaped by a confluence of daunting challenges and unprecedented possibilities. The South African Science, Technology and Innovation Indicators Report shows that our gross domestic product, domestic expenditure on research and development, the GERD, is still marginally below 1% of the national GDP. This is a reality that demands commitment and a strategic investment. Of course, this is far below the OECD countries' average of over 2%. It is important to note that this is not simply a matter of percentages, but that of our national competitiveness and our future prosperity. All of us must be aware of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and the crucial role that the higher education sector has in co-creating knowledge and innovation that allows progress in all the 17 SDGs. In the period 2022, higher education institutions conducted 11% of all research and development in South Africa, 11%. The business sector, 56%. Government, 24%. And the remaining 9% to private non-profit sector. The OECD has consistently emphasized that sustained public investment in research and development is not a discretionary expenditure, but an essential driver of innovation, productivity, and long-term economic resilience. Without such support, the capacity of nations to generate cutting-edge knowledge and translate it into commercially viable solutions to address complex societal challenges is severely diminished. According to the World Bank's report, Africa Higher Education Centers of Excellence, Africa's Contribution to Global Research and Innovation 2025, the Africa Higher Education Centers of Excellence initiative stands as one of the compelling demonstrations of what strategic, well-coordinated collaborations / partnerships can achieve. Since its inception in 2014, this initiative has trained over 90,000 students, including 7,650 PhDs, 30,200 master's graduates, and produced more than 10,350 peer-reviewed publications, which leveraged close to 183 million US dollars in additional funding. What is also worth noting is that the female enrollment has reached nearly 32% in these initiatives, in disciplines where women have historically been underrepresented, signaling a tangible shift towards greater gender inclusivity in advanced scholarship. These figures, colleagues, are compelling evidence that strategic cross-border collaboration delivers tangible results, and we must pursue it with even greater intent. For the Northwest University, this means that every MOU that we sign must translate into measurable impact. Joint degrees, co-authored research, shared infrastructure, and reciprocal capacity building, to name but a few. Internationalization at Northwest University is not incidental. It has emerged as one of our foremost strategic priorities. We engaged deliberately with partners, institutions all over the world, including but not limited to Europe, Asia, North and South America, and across the African continent. A week ago, we were in Botswana. Structural inequality, unemployment and skills gaps, energy and food security, and climate resilience, to mention but a few. Befitting a research intensive and indeed a traditional university. Our latest integrated annual report reflects that we host 1,023 international students from 50 countries, including 381 postgraduates, of which 176 are doctoral candidates. We recognize that this profile must continue to improve, and I am confident that our colleagues are working with diligence and determination to achieve this. Our weighed research output units have increased by an impressive 279% since 2004, while the number of our NRF-rated researchers has grown by 283% over the same period. Peer-reviewed publications led by Northwest University-affiliated senior or first authors now stands at 63%, comfortably surpassing our target of 53%. These, ladies and gentlemen, are significant milestones, but they are also stepping stones. As we chart our course forward, several imperatives will shape our pursuit of excellence. First, we must amplify transdisciplinarity by dismantling entrenched silos between faculties and fostering robust cross-disciplinary collaboration capable of tackling society's most complex challenges. Secondly, we must mobilize international funding by positioning the Northwest University and the sector to compete decisively for major opportunities such as Horizon Europe, NRF bilateral grants, and significant philanthropic investment, thereby broadening and deepening our resource base for impactful research. Third, we must accelerate postgraduate support by addressing shortfalls with a deliberate focus on enhancing access and equity for underrepresented groups, ensuring that talent is nurtured wherever it is found. Finally, we must institutionalize science policy engagement by embedding our researchers at the heart of national and regional decision-making, ensuring that the knowledge we generate directly shapes and strengthens public policy for the greater good. Colleagues, distinguished guests and friends, this week must serve as the strategic point for a renewed, reinvigorated, and resolute agenda of the Northwest University and our sister institutions. Our theme, transdisciplinary and transformative research building sustainable futures, cannot be allowed to remain in the realm of rhetoric. It must be embedded as the organizing principle of how we teach, how we conduct research, and how we serve society. In that spirit, I would like to leave you with 5 questions which are not just points for discussion, but provocations to prompt our thinking, our dialogue, and our commitment in the days ahead. 1, how can South Africa realistically elevate its GDP expenditure on research and development beyond just 1% of GDP? And what role should universities be playing in championing and directing this investment? Secondly, what new models of transdisciplinary collaboration within Africa and beyond can dismantle entrenched academic silos and produce solutions that are both socially just and globally relevant. Third, how do we ensure that postgraduate growth towards the Northwest University's 20% target translate into measurable societal impact rather than being confined to the attainment of academic credentials? Number 4, in what ways can South Africa and Africa's higher education institutions strategically position themselves as net contributors to global scientific discourse rather than as peripheral participants? Question number 5, how do we design science policy society interfaces that not inform decision making, but actively shape sustainable, inclusive future for South Africa, for Africa, and for the world? Lastly, how can we position ourselves to contribute meaningfully and impactfully towards the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals? These are questions that must animate our deliberations this week. They are the questions that will test our determination, sharpen our strategy, and if we answer them with courage and conviction, the answers thereof can propel us towards a future in which the Northwest University and our sister institutions, our partners, are recognized as the hope of scholarly excellence and societal impact. Let us remember that the measure of this gathering will not be in the words we utter here, but in the boldness of the actions we take when we leave this convention center. Ke a leboga, ke a bulela, siyabonga. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Principal and Vice Chancellor of the Northwest University. I am told there is a nourishment, body nourishment of some sort ready, coming to the fourth. Sir, madam, are you ready? 1 minute. What does 1 minute mean in research? Away.
Tumela kana tumediso ke tumediso tumela maAfrika tumela nna ke moseka phofu tumela ntle ke batla mogolo kwane kana ke humile ke monkadilata ke utlwela botlhoko kana ke humile ke monkadilata tumela maAfrika nna ke logile batsadi ba itumetse ke logile basadi ba sa boleiwe ke re tumela nna ke maAfrika ke moseka phofu wa gabo ga nka swalentswe gompone le swalentswe ke shebile matlhogo ke utlwa batsadi ba utlwa ke re yang selelo sa basadi se utlwisa botlhogotlhe bannatlhe gore le ba utlwisa botlhogo le girela ba ratatlhe kana se ga se le gato kana no montsheditse magadi dumela tumediso ke batswana dumela nna ke maAfrika dumela kana se ke utlwa botlhoko ya basadi ba lela ke utlwa dikeledi tsa basadi gore o ne go mo rata motlwisa botlhoko could see her tears and crying kana motho ke mosadi gateng ke mosadi kana ke mmele ga setšhaba mmele ga dikutsana dumela maAfrika ke batla go utlwa mogolo kwane gonne ke gobilwe ke monkadilata ba ka betela dipele ba tla betelela lehatshe dumela botlhoko putswa ke bua ka lona ba itse dikwalo kana ke gobilwe ke monkadilata ba ke dilatlhe ditaola dumela o ga rona kana lona re tshepile ka lona re tla dula ntse re tshepa ka lona kana banna setšhaba sa fela kutlwa botlhoko tsela pelong tsa bone basadi ba lela ba ntse ba lela ba utlwela botlhoko selelo seo sa basadi se kutlwisa botlhoko dumelang kana ba re tumediso ya maafrika ke tumediso ya nnete gang ke fela nna ke gomile ke bona ba ba robetse bonka dilatlha ba re ke dilatlha ke utlwele botlhoko ana ke utlwisa botlhoko gonne selelo sa basadi se nkutlwisa botlhoko. I could see their tears crying.
Purchase your tracks
I could
today.
see their tears crying. Selelo se utlwisa botlhoko banna Afrika dirang go diragaleng ba etela dipele dirang go diragaleng gonne basadi ba lela go tle botlhoko e tsena pelong tsa bone. I could see their tears crying ba re mosadi tshwara thipa ka bogaleng wena kana o molatlho a re banna ba etsabile kana wena mosadi gareng ga basadi boteng gateng wena o mosadi kana wena ke batla go itse thuto ka wena maritsi a thuto maafrika ba swate re tshotlago ya basadi e nkupisa botlhoko selelo seo ga tsetswa mathong ke utlwa kutlwe botlhoko ke re I could see their tears crying. I could feel their emotions. Others got molested at young age. They were raped. I could see their tears crying. Emapele. Stop gender-based violence. It's another pandemic. I could see their tears crying. I could see their tears
Purchase
crying.
your tracks today.
Emapele. O rile wa morata. Tata legato no go walitse legato ga nke le ipoka poka legato la nte ga ke le ipoka mara la ga o le ipoka o montsheditse magadi go mpona mothusa botlhoko ke hey Amapele I should have waited. You told that o morata boteng gateng ke le na ga se legato tsela khopo ga nke la tsana ge go mpone ke lela ke re tsana ke dikhabi tsa basadi ba lela. I could see their tears. I could see their tears. I could feel their pains, their anxiety, crying. Amapele ke a leboga ke mosekaphofo ga bagaso lentswe.
Thank you very much. I know some of you may need translation, but I can't translate that. All I can say, there are key words there. Let's say, this is Women's Month. Let's acknowledge that, and Happy Women's Month. Whether it is indeed a Happy Women's Month, it's something else. So the message, there is gender-based violence or violence against women in particular. There is femicide happening. So let's do our part to end it. It's not a translation, but I'm paraphrasing. And I hope he won't be offended. So, next we are going to the plenary session panel. You know yourselves, you are the members of the panel. I'm going to ask the VC and other dignitaries on stage to move to be the audience. Prof. Jeff, Prof. Modise, you are going to take over this part, as far as I know, unless there were changes that have happened, because some people are sleeping somewhere in the world and some are waking up. You'll never know what changes. You are still taking over. Thank you very much. You know your panel members, you will call them, and we will immerse ourselves in the discussion that will ensue hereafter. Prof. Modise, thank you very much. If you have mics, please make them available, because the panelists may need that. Even Prof. Modise, we'll need more than one, certainly. Thank you.
Dumelang, I think the poetry set the tone for today. He greeted us all, and I'm tempted to say all protocol observed, but I'm afraid the people that pay my salary are here. So I have to acknowledge them. The Vice Chancellor, Professor Mzubanzi, Bismarck Chobeka. I recognize you, Professor Jeff Mpatlele, the DVC, and the dignitaries, all of them, including Dr. Nguna, and all protocol observed. Prof. Jeffrey in his welcome, spoke about multi-trans interdisciplinary research. However, he left out monodisciplinary. Mono is part of the whole pack. But one thing that is very telling that he also said, he mentioned that these are not mutually exclusive. These are collaborative, so it's a package. So you cannot talk about transdisciplinary without talking about the other ones. So it doesn't mean you exclude them. You say, no, I'm only dealing with transdisciplinary research. The program director, I never know whether to call him program director. Other people call them directors of ceremonies. And I think the old way of calling them was master of ceremonies. So I'm still finding my way. I don't know what to call him. But I think director of ceremonies is probably appropriate because he does, I don't know, 1,000 ceremonies in a year. He mentioned the value chain. That is important. Whatever we do, we're not doing this research for ourselves. How does it translate? How does it assist the societies? How does it assist the communities? So that is very, very important. That is why there is a slide that should be showing up there that talks about transdisciplinary research aims at transgressing boundaries between scientific disciplines as well as between science and practice. The objective is to develop knowledge that can help solve, mitigate, or prevent societal challenges. This means that not only knowledge to understand the problem is produced, but the problem itself is addressed. That is the quote from Swiss Academies of Art and Sciences. Ladies and gentlemen, here we have a number of people who are eminent, who are captains in the industry. We have secured funding of over 31 million euro in funding. She has fostered collaboration between academics, discipline, and practical applications. She is a certified trainer with over 600 hours of capacity building experience, specializes in funding strategy, research management. Now, the panelists are given 5 minutes to reflect. And the question is, how can we use transdisciplinary research to ensure sustainability of different institutions and or communities? That is the question. I'm happy that the program director actually made mention of the fact that this is a Women's Month. And I'm pleasantly happy that in the panel there are women and eminent women. So I think those who were doing the program were very conscious of the fact that this is a Women's Month. It was going to be very, very disappointing. I think I was going to run away if it was just all men here. So I call upon Rita Jill Mata, the CEO and co-founder of Fundamentally Science, to give us our reflections for 5 minutes on her context and expertise, experience, and thereafter the panels, there will be questions from the floor or comments, and then the last part would be just a wrap-up. So over to you, Dr. Rita.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Just a quick check to make sure that you are hearing me. Thank you, Professor David, for the introduction. And thank you, of course, to Professor Ninesi for the invitation. I am very, very pleased to be here today discussing with you a little bit on my perspectives. So I would like to quickly start with a question.